This all started over a pig, and it ended with executions, children being burned, and the United States Supreme Court. And it became the deadliest family feud in America. Welcome to the Hatfields and McCoys. Over a dozen people will die. Brothers will be executed. A pregnant woman will be abandoned. A cabin will be set on fire New Year's Day. And 2 U.S. states almost go to war over this. And what nobody tells you, it really wasn't about the pig. It actually started with Civil War grudges. Then it led to the hog being stolen. Then it led to a forbidden love affair. Then it led to public executions. Then it led to children being burned. And finally ended up where the Supreme Court had to step in. After all of that, neither family really won. I want you to imagine this with me just for 1 second. Imagine it's the 1880s. You're living in the Appalachian Mountains and you have no phone, no law enforcement of any kind anywhere near you, and all you have is your family's last name and a rifle. If somebody killed your brother, your family member, would you wait for the law to take care of it, or would you take justice into your own hands? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Continental Archives, and today we're breaking down how one single dispute turned into a very bloody 30-year war. We're talking about how love made it worse, how politics made it national, and how the media turned these two families into American legends. Today, we're talking about the real story of the Hatfields and McCoys. This wasn't a war between nations. It wasn't over politics. It wasn't over land. It was personal. This is the feud of the Hatfields and McCoys. To understand the deadliest family feud in American history, we got to go back to the 1860s. After the Civil War, the border between West Virginia and Kentucky were rugged, isolated, and lawless. The Tug Fork River separated the two states, but families on both sides were deeply connected. The McCoys mostly lived on the Kentucky side. The Hatfields mostly lived on the West Virginia side. But the Civil War had already divided them. On one side, you had William Anderson Hatfield. He's a Confederate supporter, local timber businessman who was feared and respected. On the other side, you had Randolph McCoy. He was a Union loyalist, farmer, and known for being stubborn and proud. The war didn't just end in 1865. In the Appalachians, it lingered, in grudges and in blood. The hog trial is where it officially begins. It takes place in 1878, and a single dispute over a hog will ignite decades of violence. The hog marked with McCoy's ear notch was found in the Hatfield's possession. The case went to court, and there was one key witness. And his name is Bill Staton. Staton is actually related to both sides of the family. He ends up siding with the Hatfields, and the court rules in the Hatfields' favor. The McCoys are furious. Not long after that, Staton is actually murdered by 2 of the McCoy brothers. Charges were brought, but the McCoys ended up getting acquitted. Now, both sides of the families believe that the legal system is corrupt. At this point, justice would become personal. We've all heard the story of Romeo and Juliet, the story of forbidden love. Well, there's a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet situation happening between these two families. In the year 1880, Rosanna McCoy fell in love with Johnson Hatfield. They met one day at an election day gathering. It was reckless, romantic, and extremely dangerous. Rosanna ends up crossing the river to live with the Hatfields. Not long after that, she becomes pregnant. But Johnson ends up leaving her and marrying her cousin. The humiliation is nuclear, and the feud escalates from insult to murder. That actually brings us to the Election Day murders. In 1882, 3 McCoy brothers attacked Ellis and Hatfield during an election dispute. They stabbed him 26 times, shot him, and left him to die. The Hatfields captured the 3 McCoy brothers. They tied them up and they executed them on the spot. No trial, no mercy. From that moment forward, this was war. That brings us to New Year's night, 1888. The Hatfields crossed into Kentucky. They surrounded Randolph McCoy's cabin and gunfire erupted. The cabin was set ablaze and 2 McCoy children were killed. Randolph barely escaped into the woods. His wife, beaten nearly to death. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was annihilation. That is where Frank Phillips comes in. He is a Kentucky deputy determined to arrest the Hatfields. This triggered a constitutional crisis. West Virginia refused to extradite them. Kentucky sent armed posses across state lines. The dispute went all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. In Manton v. Justice of 1890, the court ruled the Hatfields could stand trial in Kentucky. This was no longer just a feud, this was a national legal battle. That brings us to the executions. Several Hatfields were convicted and they were sentenced to hang. This was a public execution. Thousands gathered to watch. Some people referred to it as a spectacle. The feud that began over a pig ended on the gallows. How did the media turn it legendary? Well, they exaggerated. They romanticized it. They turned these 2 families into symbols of savage frontier violence. The feud became myth, then folklore, and then pop culture. If you're anything like me, you might be wondering what came of it and what happened after that. Well, I've got the answer for you right here. In 2003, descendants of both families signed the official truce. Today, the feud fuels tourism across West Virginia and Kentucky. What was once deadly is now history. You might be wondering to yourself, what happened with these 2 families that made them go so far off the rails? Well, the fact of the matter is, it wasn't just one single event. There were several factors to consider. Some of those factors include post-Civil War instability, lack of a strong law enforcement, family honor and culture, economic stress, and border politics. In layman's terms, it wasn't just one event that caused these families to spiral. It was the perfect storm of events. In total, dozens of people died. Not in a revolution, not on the battlefield, but over pride, over love, and over a pig. The Hatfields and McCoys didn't just fight each other. They became a warning. The warning being, what happens when vengeance replaces justice? Hey everybody, I just want to say thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, hit that like button for me. If you liked this video and you want to see more content like it, hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor, comment what you guys want to see next. I will see y'all in the next one.